What's good, YouTube? What's good, YouTube? Welcome to another episode of Rolling with Carlos. Today we're going to cover what former Gator coach and former Mississippi State head coach had to say, shockingly, about what he had to say when he got fired from the University of Florida job. And then we're going to go ahead and listen to some thoughts from Nick Saban from this past weekend on college game day of what he thinks about the University of Florida situation, and then I'll go ahead and currently give you my thoughts of the shocking news of Dan Mullen and what Nick Saban had to say. So let's listen to Dan Mullen, and then we'll go from there. Give me a second, ladies and gentlemen.
Much to say, it just seems like it's not a matter anymore of if he's going to get fired, just when he's going to get fired.
Yeah, and that's the hard part of college football. Obviously, I'm excited for that game in Mississippi State, Florida this week.
Dan Mullen ball.
But you know what? I think Florida looks, and what Florida is very different now than when I was there even a couple years ago. They finally have a football facility, which is kind of a head scratcher in today's world, right? Didn't people have it like 20 years ago? No, they didn't. You know, they finally just opened it right when Billy Napier got hired and moved into a standalone football facility. So they were way behind that way. I think, he had the benefit of having administrative support. They've tripled the budget to catch up with other schools. So I think they've invested a lot in trying to catch the program up into getting it maybe, I think a lot of people are like, we've done all this. We must be past everybody. I think they just finally caught up with some other schools. And, I don't know that the answer is keep changing coaches every couple of years. I think when you look back in history, you would have had a lot of Hall of Fame coaches not make the Hall of Fame. Never mind, you would have never heard of them, if they weren't giving more than their first couple of years to build a program. And so I think, there's a lot of ADs sometimes have a quick trigger and the fans want that instant success now. We'll see. Let's see how the rest of the season plays out. I'm not always a big proponent of firing a coach earlier in the middle of the season unless there's someone on staff that you want to replace him with that you think could be the next head coach. Because if not, there's issues. Once the head coach is fired, some of the players, they're like, do we finish the year? Do we go to the portal? There's a lot of questions of who's steering the ship for that program just to get you through this season.
You know what the conversation is now, right? Florida fans, and I understand it, and I get it. They're already speculating on who could be the next coach. The big sexy name has been Lane Kiffin, who's doing a great job right now at Ole Miss. Like, you think Lane would leave Ole Miss where he has them going right now to eventually take over Florida?
It's pretty funny. When I got let go at Florida a couple years ago, they asked me, and I said, hey, I'd go hire Lane Kiffin right now. I said, you're going to get rid of me, I'd go hire Lane Kiffin. Ole Miss right now, he kind of has that little bit of that, Florida, they love points. He's going to continue the offense to run points. He's walking in. They walking in with an Anthony Richardson. You're walking in with a top 5 draft pick at quarterback. So the program's in good shape offensively that way. There are some high-powered receivers committed and on the roster. So I think he would have been a great fit right off the bat. But that was several years ago, and he's now got Ole Miss to, get in playoff contention. So I don't know if that's something that would interest him or not. If you never know in the coaching profession why maybe someone makes a decision they're going to have their personal or whatever reason to do it. But I think a couple of years ago we probably wouldn't take the job as often before.
Wait, so when they were firing you, and I know you had a long relationship with Florida, they asked you who should replace you?
I think we were just talking. I said, hey, you're getting let go, and there's still a game left for the season. So I said, hey, it's a very simple deal. Greg Knobs, interim head coach, assistant head coach. He's going to walk in, not going to miss a beat. He went and led him to a victory over Florida State the next week. And, I think he was a guy in place. I thought, that could walk in and do that and take over as the interim head coach immediately. Just ask that question because I'm concerned for my coach and I'm concerned for the players. And saying that, I said, hey, you guys got to go hire a coach. And I told that to the athletic director. I'd go hire Scott Strickland. I'd go hire Lane Kiffin if I were you right now. But, little Florida wants points. They love that swagger, that attitude that Spurrier used to for everybody. The coaches, all the coaches have been successful there have had. And I thought he would kind of fit right into that role and help move them forward, especially if they were give him the administrative support, finally have a facility, have a budget, let him create a recruiting budget that's competitive and have that support, he would do well with it.
You know, it's kind of crazy. Like 5 years ago, I got on the radio, Dan Mullen, and I said, hey, a coach at Ole Miss shouldn't leave for Florida. I would be told I'm like the biggest idiot in the world. But now, at the landscape of the sport, you know, it looks like it's a lateral move, or it could even be a step down from what Lane has right now in Ole Miss.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it is. I think coaching, a lot of decisions is very personal for a lot of people.
Can Billy Napier rescue the season? Yeah, but it's going to be rough because the Gators have a tough schedule. But let's go ahead and see what former Alabama coach, former Miami Dolphins coach, Nick Saban had to say about the current situation at Florida.
Well, I think maybe the problem isn't the coaches. You know, they've been through 4 coaches since Spurrier and Urban Meyer, who both created a tremendous culture of winning there. And sometimes the fan base can just think, well, we can show up and expect to win and not make the commitment to the program that you need to make to be able to continue to make the changes and investments you need to make to keep up with changing times. And things change. They should have taken advantage of building better facilities when Urban Meyer was there. What's their collective been like? How have they adapted to this, new model of college football? So it's not just the coaches. When you've been through 4 coaches and haven't had success, there's something else that people should be looking at. Now, when it comes to Florida State, they...
All right, that's Nick Saban's thoughts on the Florida situation at Florida. Now, guys, will Billy Napier get fired? Should Billy Napier get fired? Currently, yes. We're sitting at 2-2. The Gators have the toughest schedule in the country. We'll see what happens, but guys, he's currently on the hot seat. Now, to go back with what Nick Saban was saying, is it a coaching situation or is it an administrative situation? Who knows? Should Scott Strickland get fired along with Billy Napier? Or should Billy Napier stay and Scott Strickland get fired? We'll find out as the weeks come, guys. But it's a hot take. What Dan Mullen had to say, that he recommended Lane Kiffin 3 years ago when he got fired, and they asked him who should come take over the program. And he said, Lane Kiffin should be your next Florida head coach. And they went out and hired Billy Napier. You guys have a good afternoon. Always remember to like, share, and subscribe. And share this around so we can get more family, more Rolling with Carlos family. Have a great afternoon. Put your comments and thoughts down in the comments. And let me know what you think about this Florida Gator situation. It's very hot, steaming hot. And we'll see you next time. Peace.